Okay, so we'll start off with an example I want to give you of a person that was one of my clients, but she's just started a new job, and she obviously wants to do the best and progress in the job, and it's the first time she's had a job in a while. And so she's put in charge of this project, and there was a deadline for a very important client. As it happens, and one of her children got sick and she had to take a day off work and missed the deadline that was really, really important for the company she worked for. So as a result then, the next day she went back to work, and knowing she had missed the deadline, she was a bit nervous about it, and was going to explain what happened. And she had phoned in the day before saying her child is sick. So as she gets to her desk and starts to work, her desk phone rings and her boss is saying, can you come in to me please after your lunch, I need to talk to you. So with that, she just went, oh my God, what happened? I'm going to be fired. All these thoughts started to race through her head. I've missed my deadline, my boss is going to fire me, I'm going to lose my job, I won't have any money to support my children, what am I going to do? And all of these thoughts came into her mind. Then she started to get heart palpitations, started to sweat, got a dry mouth, headache, indigestion. Needless to say, she couldn't go for her lunch. She went to the canteen to have some tea, but she just couldn't eat. She was absolutely so anxious of what her boss is going to tell her. So then she, after lunch, went to the office of her boss. Her boss says to her, you know what, Jane, I just want to have a chat with you. How's your child? And she said, well, grand, thanks very much, all good now, He says, okay, I just wanted to check in with you. I just want to let you know, give a bit of feedback. I know you're new in the company, and I just wanted to see how you're fitting in and how you're getting on. And, it's always difficult to be in a new job. And I also just want to let you know, you're doing a really good. We all have emergencies, and these things happen in life. So it's no problem. So that was it. So what can you take from that? Why do we get anxious, okay? And I'm sure many have heard it before, but there's always worth saying it again, because I think knowing what goes on in our bodies and why we're feeling anxious always is the first step. Understanding what's going on is the first step to dealing with it. Okay, so the first step is to be anxious and stressed is completely normal. We're designed to be stressed, we're designed to be anxious because that protects us from danger. Nowadays, that danger isn't there anymore. We don't encounter these kind of animals in the road where we have to, get worried about it. So what happens when you're anxious? So your body prepares for fight or flight or freeze, okay? So what happens is the blood drains out of your brain into your large muscle groups, your heart starts pounding, you start to sweat, you start to tremble, you get a sort of funny feeling in your tummy. That's all in preparation for you to really either run really fast or really fight and have a chance to survive. So your body prepares you to get the maximum benefit out of a fight or a run, okay? So that was really helpful at the time of in prehistoric times when it was really dangerous to live, but nowadays it doesn't serve us really that well anymore. Our danger today is our environment. It's our office, our work environment, being connected to a stream of information all of the time that causes anxiety, the stress in work. So to look at the brain, okay, we have the logic brain and the emotional brain, okay? The logic brain knows I'm not in any danger here when I'm in the office and I'm busy. The brain knows there's no danger when I'm checking my Instagram and I see everyone is being happy except for myself. That means the emotional brain though comes in and says, no, there's danger. You want to be happy. You want to be successful. You want to reach all your targets. So. And then you start to think, like the example at the beginning, what if I lose my job? What if I don't do my job properly? What if? All of these worries that we have, the emotional brain comes in then and takes over and makes you anxious. So in the emotional brain you have a gland, it's called the amygdala. The amygdala is your emotional center. And what that does is it regulates your emotions. So every time, that stands for danger. Every time amygdala senses danger, it sends out the heart palpitations, the sweating, the stomach cramps, indigestion, can't sleep. All of these symptoms come from the amygdala. Now, the more often you feel these anxieties, the larger your amygdala gets. And the larger your amygdala is, the more often you get anxious. Okay, so it's a vicious cycle that you're in. And in extreme cases, when this goes on chronic for a number of years, it ends up in panic attacks, full-blown panic attacks, where you end up in hospital because you're thinking you're having a heart attack or you're having a stroke. In the end, it's a panic attack which won't kill you. So this is what goes on in your brain. And your emotional brain is way, way stronger than your logical brain. Just to think, okay, I'm not really in any danger here, doesn't mean anything. Your emotional brain is still going to send the messages to send all these bodily symptoms and make you anxious. So how to manage your anxiety then? Okay. So as I was giving you the example at the beginning of the lady who missed the deadline, she interpreted the situation a certain way. Okay, so she thought she's going to be fired, lose her job, have no money, children will starve, no home to live in, all sorts of stuff going on. So this is a famous quote from Wayne Dyer, you know, so if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Okay? So how do we do that? Okay, so this is a model that is rooted in psychology, it's rooted in cognitive behavior therapy. And what that stands for is, like most people would say, well, it's a situation that causes me anxiety. Well, it is not the situation, because if it was the situation, then everybody in the very same situation would feel the exact same way. And that is clearly not the case. I did a presentation in a workplace there last week, and I asked the people in the room, if you were in bed, imagine yourself in bed at night, you're on your own, you're going to bed, you're turning off the lights, you're about to fall asleep, and next of all you hear a loud bang. What happens? What do you do? Well, everyone gave me a different answer. You know, one person said, oh, I just turn around and go to sleep. It's probably the cat knocking something over. Another one said, well, I jumped out of bed, I ran downstairs with my stick in my hand. Another one said, oh, it's just my housemate coming home. It's probably one few more drinks, you know, and making a noise. And another one says, I completely would freeze in bed. I wouldn't know what to do. I'd just lie there and don't move. So as you can see, it's the same situation, lots of different reactions. So it's clearly not the situation that makes you feel, it's what goes on in your head, all right? So as you can see in this model, the thought of the lady from the start was, I'm going to lose my job, I'm boring, or I'm always messing up. Whatever type of anxiety you have, if it's social anxiety, you're going to avoid going to social gatherings. If it's health anxiety, you're going to be checking all the time the internet, what's wrong with me, or I'm going to the doctor every week. So it's all different types of anxieties, but I'm just talking about general anxiety here today. So these are all connected, okay? None of them can happen in isolation. If you have a thought, you're going to have a feeling. If you have a thought, you're going to behave a certain way. You can't behave in any way without having your thought first. So this is all connected. It's not somebody else has come and make you feel better. It's not about whatever somebody else doing something for you. And at the end of the day, the only action, the only behaviors that you can control is your own. Nobody can control that, what you do. Equally, you can't control anyone else's actions either. So in case with Jane now, she missed her deadline, that's her situation. And that's not what made her anxious, okay? She was thinking, I'm in trouble, I will lose my job, I will have no money, and so on. Her stressed and anxious about it, can't eat lunch, goes to the bathroom to try and calm herself down, can't concentrate, and then these are her bodily symptoms as well. So this is the alternative for Jane. In order to change how you feel, you need to change how you feel. So let's take Jane again and take an example of what could she have done differently? What could she have thought differently? So same situation, missed her deadline, and then she gets a call from her boss, and then she could think, I wonder what's he want or she want, what's this all about? Maybe about the missed deadline, okay, but maybe there's a new project coming, or maybe it's something I don't know. I'll see what happens, you know. I'll go and see after lunch what's going to be the case. And that's it. She might feel a little nervous, because sometimes people get nervous if the boss calls and said, come in and see me. We do get maybe a little bit nervous, but not to the extent that we get heart palpitations. And so it's the thoughts that cause the emotions. So let's have a look, what are the typical thoughts that the average person has when they're feeling anxious or stressed, okay? There's a whole list of them, but I've only got a couple of them here to sort of focus in on the anxiety. So the must, should and ought to. Okay, these type of thoughts cause anxiety big time. If you're saying to yourself, I must do, I should do, so-and-so is doing that, why am I not doing this? I must go and do this, I ought to do this, and why am I not doing that? When I start working with people on anxiety and I ask them, describe your last time you were really, really anxious, describe it to me. And then they tell me the situation, where they were, what they were doing. And then when I get to the part of saying, well, what were you thinking just before it all kicked off? Most people say, I wasn't thinking anything, okay? Because it's really hard to tune in to what you're thinking. You could start a sentence with, it would be nice if I got this done today, but if not, I'll do it tomorrow. That's still okay. I have a deadline, I'll try my best to get it done. I always work hard. If it doesn't end up being done today, that's fine, I'll do it tomorrow. So see, you change the way you talk to yourself. The other one then is jumping to conclusions. Jane did that as well. She jumped to conclusions what her boss is going to say to her. As a result, she was absolutely so anxious that she couldn't even have her lunch. So she jumped to conclusions. Catastrophizing. Similar to jumping to conclusion, always expecting the worst outcome. We don't know. Who can predict the future? Really, nobody can. The last one is personalization. So that is, thinking about, I'm no good, I'm useless. You thinking, okay, now what? I'm really not worth my job here. Maybe somebody else is better than I am. And that could cause anxiety as well. So you're gonna have to think about rewiring your brain, okay? So this is neuroplasticity. Our brain can change. All the thoughts that you're having, so if you're catastrophizing, some people are just catastrophizers, they catastrophize all the time. So you have to rewire your neural pathways in your brain, okay? And how you do that is, first of all, coming up with an alternative thought. Like I said, with Jane, we did the example, the different thought that you have, well, let's see what the boss wants, maybe it's about a new project or whatever. But if you're catastrophizing, you're always catastrophizing, you see the pathway on the right hand side there, those neural connections are really, really strong in your brain. That's your go-to. Very easily accessible, automatic, that's your automatic thoughts coming in. And thinking, oh well, I'll see what the boss wants. Maybe he or she wants to take me out for lunch, I don't really care. If you've never thought that, there's a new neural pathway that you have to form in your brain. Okay, now obviously I'm exaggerating it here to make a point, but any new thoughts, any new habits, regardless what it is, it's a new path that you're forming. And imagine it's a jungle path, right? It's overgrown. It's really hard to get through it. You need a machete to fight your way through it, because it's the first time those connections are made in your brain. But if you keep doing that, if you keep recognizing I'm catastrophizing, I'm mind reading, and you keep coming up with alternatives, eventually those new thoughts become a new highway in your brain. Those will be your new go-tos. And the old ones, the catastrophizing one, for example, will become overgrown because you're not using it anymore. So therefore they will sort of close up. They'll still be there underneath all of it, but they'll be sort of overgrown, and you won't be going there automatically anymore. It'll be the new ones you go to automatically. As a result, we now know it's our thoughts that give us the feelings. You're not going to be anxious. It's about really, the more you engage in it, the quicker it happens. So you really sit down, you have to write these things down. I'll get to that now. So the other thing is you become a scientist about yourself, right? So you go, what am I thinking, right? You have to really investigate that. What am I thinking? Then take your thoughts and put them on trial, right? What evidence have I got for that thought? What evidence have I got against that thought? So if I'm thinking, catastrophizing, I'm going to be thrown out of my house now because I'm going to lose my job, what evidence have I got for that? That's the first question. What have I got for and what have I got against? Write it down. You need to write it down because your emotional brain is happy enough to listen to you, but it's your logical brain you want to have engaged here. How you engage your logical brain is by writing it down. Write down what your thought is. What type of thought is it? It's mind reading, catastrophizing. Put it on trial. What would you tell a friend if they came to you and told you the exact same thing? Think about that. What would you tell them? Take a helicopter view, step back, look at your situation, and think, is that really a realistic thought to have? Or is there another way of thinking about the same situation? And write everything down, okay? Use that circle that I've shown you earlier on. You just put it on a piece of paper, put down your thoughts, your feelings, your body sensations, and what you're doing. And then put it on trial. Put that thought on trial and see what is the outcome going to be. How are you going to feel if you have a different type of thought? How's your body going to feel? As we said, you can't change your emotion and your body sensations without changing your thoughts. So that's your brain, okay? So this is what you do with your brain. And maybe some of you know this already, and for many people it might be the first time they've ever heard that. And the second thing then is what you can do is mindfulness, okay? CBT and mindfulness is more and more often used together. The reason for that, for mindfulness for anxiety in particular, is studies have shown that mindfulness reduces the size of the amygdala. Remember, the larger the amygdala is, the more anxious we get. Now, mindfulness reduces the size of the amygdala, okay? So it also teaches you to be in the present moment, to not worry about the future, because people with anxiety tend to worry about the future. People with depression tend to worry about the past. So if you're talking about anxiety, it's about worrying about the future all the time. So I'd like to invite you now, I'm going to do a short mindfulness exercise with you, okay? That you can apply any time very easily. It's no big deal. It's about observing your thoughts. It's about being in the present moment, experiencing what's around you, rather than having thoughts flying all over the place, okay? So if it's okay with you, just get yourself comfortable, put your feet on the ground. Try and ignore the match noise. And so if you want, you can close your eyes. You can lower your gaze. It's totally up to you. Okay, so when you're ready, just lower your gaze or close your eyes. And then just focus on your breath coming in through your nose. Take your breath in. Feel the air travel through your nose, through your throat, into your chest, into your tummy. Just take a few of those breaths in and out. As you're breathing in and out, feel your feet on the ground. You can wiggle your toes in your shoes. Then travel up your legs and feel your back supported by the chair. And feel your arms resting wherever you've left them to rest. And just take a few more breaths in and out. Just gently breathing in and out. And as you're breathing, just start to notice the sounds around you. Notice the sounds in this room. Notice the sounds outside. Just pay attention to them. gently bring your attention back to your breath. Now imagine yourself you're sitting at a riverbank. There's a gentle river in front of you. You're sitting in the grass. The sun is shining on your back. And you're just sitting there, breathing in and out. You feel the sun on your back. And inevitably, as you're sitting there, thoughts will pop into your mind. Just observe your thoughts. And say, oh, here's a thought. And then just put it in the stream in front of you and let it go. And gently bring your attention back to your breath. Each time a thought comes into your head, observe it. Say, oh, here's a thought. It's just a thought. It's not a fact. It's just a thought, and you can put it in the river and let it go. If you prefer, you can imagine your thoughts being clouds in the sky, and you can just pop them. And just pop your thoughts and let them go. All the time bringing your attention back to your breath as you're breathing in through your nose, and feel your breath going in through your nose, into your throat, into your chest and into your tummy. And when you're ready, bring your attention gently back to this room. Pick up the noises around you and open your eyes. Okay. How was that? Is that relaxing? Do you see how that enables you to be in the present moment? It enables you to learn noticing your thoughts and not letting them get to you, letting them go. They're just thoughts. They're not the truth. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. So it's about learning to recognize that. So just to look at this again, what you can do, I hope you take away today from this talk, is that you can work your mind, first of all, to identify your thoughts, the situations, the feelings, and your body sensations, and write them all down. That's important to write them down. And then do the self-talk. How can I change these thoughts? How can I be more realistic about a situation? Your body, you can do the mindfulness exercises, which allows the amygdala to shrink, and it also allows you to start to be more aware of your thoughts. Breathing exercises, yoga is another one that's really good. And, plan to do more things you enjoy. Find, set yourself small goals. Have a healthy lifestyle, eat healthy, and all of the rest of it. That is we kind of know, but it's really hard to sometimes do. And if you find all this too overwhelming, then take small steps at a time. Set yourself small goals. Say, okay, this week I'm just going to focus, what am I thinking? Okay, let's just find out what am I thinking, and write it down. Then next week, find out what am I feeling, and so forth. You can then do a bit of mindfulness exercise. Say, okay, I'm going to do 5 minutes a day. So small little steps, but it's a gradual process. And like I said, it's not going to happen overnight. If you're an anxious person, that it's going to be gone overnight. Okay, that's unrealistic. And if anyone promised you that, it's just not possible, because you have to retrain your mind. You have to retrain the neural pathways in your mind.